But that's why people call you, because you have that. You know, they know that if you're around, things will keep moving.
Yeah, but they don't call me. They don't call me with the big checks, René. They call. They don't call me with those big ass checks that they're giving these other people.
No, I think the big checks, you probably entered the wrong industry there.
Right.
Guerrilla gardening.
Hi, I'm Melina Shannon DiPietro, the executive director of MAD. This is our new podcast, MAD Talks. For our first season, our founder, René Redzepi, who is also the chef and owner of Restaurant Noma, sits down each week with an iconic speaker from our signature event, MAD Symposium, to talk about food, creativity, and the future we hope to build. In this episode, René speaks with Ron Finley, an activist and true force of nature. They talk about why access to healthy food is a human right and why growing your own is the key to it, even when you have to break the law to do it.
Good morning.
How you doing, René?
I'm doing well. How are you, man?
Beautiful, beautiful. Woke up this morning.
Yeah, right? That's beautiful. Just waking up is beautiful.
A lot of people don't see it like that. Some people like, and that's like, people say, is that what you're going to say all the time? I'm like, yeah, because that's what I done today. It's like, that you sure set the bar low. I'm like, the bar don't get no higher than you waking up in the morning.
How was the world when you were growing up?
It was, it's funny because you live in a certain neighborhood and everybody around you is basically in the same kind of economical situation. So you didn't see yourself as being poor. You didn't see yourself as not really having stuff. A lot of times when you traveled somewhere, when you went to another neighborhood, even my friends, when I went, a few blocks this way, a few blocks that way, I'm like, damn, why do we live on this thoroughfare street when these people live on this neighborhood street that has trees and shit like that? It's like, but it was, it was the same thing, it was, but it wasn't like this. I don't remember being depressed and behind, where I lived and how I lived. And, but you don't, because that's the thing, René, you're a child. So you don't realize how fucked up shit is. You don't realize that you're not getting the education that you're supposed to because you're a child. You don't realize that you're not getting the services. But I think the difference was there were so many Black entrepreneurs and businesses around you that it was kind of self-sustaining. And I think that helped a lot.
When you grew up, what was food? How did food look like to you?
In the 1800s when I grew up, René.
Back in 1921.
We had food and it was cooked every day. You asking me that question made me think of when I was in junior high school. I used to walk by the what they call it, the home ec class, and they put the pies in the window to cool off and stuff. And I walked by and I'd smell these beautiful pies and cookies. And I went to the counselor and she says, and I told her, I said, I want to take the cooking class because, I was getting my clothes all messed up in print shop and everything. And she said, you can't because that's for girls. And I don't know where the hell I pulled this from, René, but I said, well, aren't most men chefs? Where does, I'm 10? I don't know, 11. And she said, you're right. And they started at this school, at this junior high school in South Central Los Angeles. They started a boys' cooking class because I wanted hot German chocolate cookies, and spaghetti and meatloaf. And literally, just imagine that was a paradigm shift that has a child, René. I had no idea I had no idea the power that had, and that it fell on the ears of this one beautiful soul that said, yeah, we need to change this shit. And because that had never been. It was like the girls take this and the boys take shop.
You have that inquisitive, you ask questions, you're unafraid. And even at 10, you're like, hey, that's just followed you all your life?
My superpower was the fact that I'm dyslexic as hell. So I didn't do good in their school. And now I get to go and speak at teachers' conferences. And a lot of times I would say, don't take this personally, but fuck your standardized education. Because nobody's standard. We're all custom. You teach a child the way they learn, not the way you teach. But you know that. But you have to do this because the system tells you this is how they have to learn. And so there's a lot of people missing. So I had to question. My new thing, I tell these kids, I said, think wrong. Don't think right, think wrong. Because what they're teaching you is garbage. It's not education. It's indoctrination. I've left schools, elementary schools, René, and literally, I'm about to, and cry like a baby, man, because I see these brilliant little kids, and you know where they're going to wind up because they're not telling them. Nobody's telling them that you are the single most valuable, the most beautiful, the most precious thing on this planet, because nobody tells these kids that. It's always if you had this, and if you have this, that means you're rich and you're this. And I tell these kids, you can't eat no fucking diamonds. What you got, the apocalypse happens, earthquake, the volcanoes, you got a bag of diamonds, you got a bag of carrots, and you got some real carrots. Which one has more value? Period. So it's like, these are the lessons that I'm trying to pass on to, that I wish somebody would have given me.
How did this all come to be? I mean, because what you have in you, and this, you keep pushing, you keep wanting to change things. Where does this come from? Is there a specific moment that fuels you?
I think it's innate. I mean, it's like, why? Don't tell me what I can't do. Don't tell me this ain't possible. It's just like, I don't like people telling me something can't be done. My thing is just like, and I'm sure you had the same shit, René. I thought about it. That means it can be done, sure. Right?
Yeah, if you think it, there is a possibility.
Yeah.
Hey, when you started the gardening, you started planting the front yards.
Yep.
Tell us about that. What happened?
I didn't even think about it. But I was going to the stores, and I remember having this tomatoes, and they were wrapped in plastic, and they had a sticker on them that says, may be coated with shellac.
Delicious.
And that took me back to junior high school. And I'm like, because we used to shellac the wood. After we build cabinets and stuff, we would shellac the wood to coat it and preserve it. And I'm like, I'm cool. I don't need no shellac on my tomatoes. And I think that was one of the final things. I mean, I had, I stopped eating McDonald's as years and years and years earlier, just hearing the stuff. And that, I think, took me over the edge. And I started planting my parkway. And the first time I did it, I got an arrest warrant issued for me because it was illegal. And then,
but who does that? Who says, "Hey, check out Ron. He's doing something illegal." Somebody must have said something.
Well, there was a hater. There was this elderly woman down the street, that because my front yard was getting a lot of attention. I guess she was jealous. I don't know, but I mean, I'm thankful that she did. So I started an organization that we would just do gardens for free for anybody in South Central who wanted them. And I literally wound up leaving an organization that I started because, the dynamics changed. I didn't care, people, they have a Mercedes. I'm like, I don't care. What the fuck? They're in the hood. It's like, I don't care what kind of garden. I'm not the government. If they want a garden and they're going to maintain it, we're going to put it in for free. And I realized real quickly that free ain't free. Free is not sustainable. And free sometimes it doesn't have value to people because it's free.
Yeah, sure.
You know, in a garden. And then, so that's kind of how it started, man. And I told a friend that I wanted to, he was doing gardening. I said, man, we should get together and do this. And he said, oh man, I'm gonna keep DJing. I don't want to. And I'm like, I said, well, I'm about to fuck this game up. And it literally started with that, you know, whereas I got another arrest warrant. And then that turned into me fighting the city, me going to TED, and me putting the city on blast.
And for people that don't know what a food desert is, can you try to explain the term food desert? In Denmark, we don't understand the term fully. Can you explain why and what,
I mean,
you know?
They have them all over the world. I mean, it's just a term that that's been coined. Like my whole thing is, I call them food prisons, not food deserts, because literally, if you got the right techniques, you can grow food in a desert. You know, but the whole concept came from there's a barren desert, so it's just barren of anything nutritious. It's just barren of substance. And that's what a food desert is. And for miles, you can get liquor, you know, you can get cigarettes, you can get all that. You can get, but you can't get any healthy food. You can't get anything organic.
Within like a walking distance.
Oh, no, it's miles. Yeah, miles, you know, so no, you can't. And so it becomes natural for people to eat this kind of food and think it's cool. It's interesting, René, because you asking me that question made me think of me speaking at Google, and you know the stickers, the barcodes on all the fruits and vegetables, you know, the 4-digit number, 5-digit numbers. And so I said, by the way, anybody knows what these numbers on your food and vegetables, you know, these stickers, and people think it's tracking the food. Like, no, it ain't got nothing to do with it. That's somebody. I said, y'all Google, y'all supposed to be some of the smartest motherfuckers in the world, right? And I said, so y'all should Google that shit, you know? So I was at Google and I got to tell them to Google some shit. And, you know, then we talked about it. I said, how can somebody like all of you, you know, educated folks not know what these numbers are? That's a travesty. So if you don't know, the average citizen definitely don't know. These apples, this orange are telling, I'm going to kill you. I'm sprayed with this. I have this coating on them. I'm organic. I'm bioengineered. I said that it has nothing to do with tracking. It's telling you how they were grown. And nobody knows that. So why aren't there signs in the stores, René, with these stickers on them saying, okay, this is that, this. Nobody knows what these stickers stand for.
No, I can totally see that. It's the difference between a small barcode, which is just some numbers, as opposed to it being written up right in front of that item you're wanting to buy would be such a difference, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and to me, that's something that could be changed like this. That fast. So if you really cared. Yeah, you can go on your phone and you put it in, it'll come up, but I'm at the store. So why isn't there a chart right there telling me you know, what's going to happen? And, you know, and it's sad because I was at a school and they had boxes and boxes of apples, and this girl's like, yeah, we're giving these kids fresh food because they never get it. I'm like, do you know it's not fresh? Do you know when they were grown? I said, do you know what that sticker on the I said, no. I said, look it up on your phone. She did. I'm like, oh. I said, yeah. So how fresh is it? How and I said, how healthy is it for these kids? It's telling you I contain poison. And you're feeding it to this kid, thinking that all these kids, and you thinking it's doing something for them. It's not. Wow. You know, it's a travesty.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, you know, it's kind of around the world. It's not just America like that. I think parts of America is really, really, really bad in ways that we don't comprehend over here. But, you know, the way of eating is kind of westernized, that style of eating. if I can switch it over a little bit to, because I was reading up on everything that you say, and when you start doing the gardens and people were opposed to it, they call the police on you for growing carrots and so on. And you also talked about that you're beautifying things. And I love this term specifically, putting beauty into the world, which I think is just essential. And something that often, we're not allowed to celebrate or even value when it comes to food. That beautiful things matter, and it makes. What does beauty mean to you?
It means everything. It's just like people ask me, well, how do you go from fashion to food?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a different. I said, that's because you've been trained to think in the box and live there in that box. I said, there is no difference. There is no difference between fashion and food. I said, where does material come from? Where does from the earth? Where does colors come from?
Mm-hmm.
From the earth, from Mother Nature. I said, so your compartmentalized thinking allows you to think that what I do is different. Mm-hmm. And it's not. It's all art. It's all beauty. The beauty of nature, man. The beauty of René, when I was a child, if somebody would have told me one tiny ass seed will give you a whole tree. Mm-hmm. You do it, but nobody explains that. You see that one seed that you planted? It's going to turn into a tree. Mm. And that tree is going to have fruit. And all those fruits going to have seeds in them. Mm. And all those seeds have the possibility to be a tree that will give you more fruit. Yeah. That will give then those. And so just, and imagine if somebody told you that as a child, that you want to talk about rate of return, you want to talk about interest, plant a damn tree that will give you food for 250 years.
Yeah.
So this, you want to talk about value. Yeah. That's value to me.
Yeah. When you say this, I'm thinking first day of school, all kids should plant a tree somewhere and follow it for their life,
And again, all of that can be done, René. It's just having people like you and us. Okay, this is what's going to happen. And this is how you people going to pay for it.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. When we speak about these things we speak about now, I also think about time and how things that we talk about that you speak to takes more time that perhaps we allow things to take today in this kind of instant gratification moment. How do you see that going forward with your mission? Because gardening takes time, Is it more difficult for people to connect to it because we're so wired on our screens?
Yeah, it's more difficult for people to connect to it. But I saw what happened after my master class and how many people started growing food and started to realize, you had people in their 40s that never planted nothing, not a plant, a seed in the ground. So, and I think during COVID, they're like, oh, shit. When they saw nothing in the store and this and that, and they saw that this is what I tell, this is freedom. This is survival. You growing food, nobody could ever take that knowledge away from you. Mm-hmm. Okay. You're realizing the cycle of life. You're learning that a tree is not just a tree. It's like, it's a life system. And it happens that the way nature works. And this is what I'm trying to expose to these kids is nature and natural system. And that's powerful because you can see where life comes from, and what's real. So no, I think now people are getting back to doing for themselves, cooking, making clothes, these creative things, and people are like, because we lost this. And it's like, we're rushing to go where? To die. What is, I'm hustling, I'm grinding. I'm like, I'm not hustling, nor am I, I'm not doing none of that shit. I'm breathing every day.
Yeah, but you are fighting, and you're building movement, and, you start fires to, maybe that's a bad expression now that what's happening in LA.
No, it's real.
I think doing good. The thing is about food, it always boggles my mind. Doing good in food, wanting quality, wanting organics, regenerative, you will be punished. That you'll earn less. It's just the way it is. It's harder, more difficult. The cheaper, the poorly produced, that's the stuff that you earned well, and you know. And why is it that? I mean,
I don't know. You a gangster in this shit, René. Okay, you's an OG. You've been doing. I mean, some of the stuff you do, I'm like, whoa. And it's
who are the real gangsters?
No, I mean, to me, and that's where the whole gangster gardeners came from. It's like people that build their communities, not break them down. People that are assisting people. These people that are, you know, starting new systems and bucking this bullshit system that will keep you oppressed for the rest of your life. To me, that air is gangster as fuck. You can't get no more gangster than air, you know? So it's just like, try doing without it. And that's, to me, that's what gangster is, you know? And that's what I wanted to change the vernacular of that whole gangster meant violence and, you know, misogyny. And like, no, this being a gardener is a gangster. Raising your spades, you know, and putting them in the ground. Let your spade be your weapon of choice. That's gangster. You know, so we can change this whole system. And that's what it, I mean, for me to be able to see people or have inspired people to like, damn, that guy's right. Maybe we should, maybe, you know, some of the, you know, the testimonies and letters and pictures and people that start business. Like, well, you know, I started this because of you. I'm like, I really don't know what the hell I'm talking about. You sure? You know, I mean, there's no way that I could have imagined that, you know, that just this message would affect people like that.
You're a father.
Oh, yes.
How proud father. How was that being a father?
What do you mean? How was it? It's you know, I have people saying, "Oh my God, it's so hard raising kids." I'm like, shut the hell up. That's because you want them to be what you want. You're not looking at them to see what they can be. You're not exposing them to things. I mean, it was simple for me, René, because there was no, in my household, not the household that I grew up in my household, there was no violence. There was no cigarettes. There was no alcohol. There was no beatings. There was none of that silly shit, you know? And I said, let me eliminate this and see what happens. And I've always told my sons, it's like, I don't live for you. You know, I'm gonna live my life. You're gonna live there. You live with me, but you have, you know, you got your own thing that you need to do. I want you to, my thing to them was operate from happy, period. If the shit don't make you happy, don't do it. You know, I don't want to see you in no situation, married. I don't want to see you in you know, in a job that you hate. You know, I don't want to see you going to school and you don't want it. So I think we should, that was the way I raised my kids, and I just exposed them to different things. I mean, I took them with me everywhere, and I would, even in business meetings, they would, hey, wow, your kids, I think they're listening to what we're saying. I'm like, why the hell you think they're here? Yeah, you know, and I just wanted them to expose them to things. It was simple. I want to be the motherfucker that I wish a motherfucker was to me when I was a kid. So, and that's okay. What did I wish you would have told me? What did I wish you would have shown me? And that's what I was, man. And I'm 3 for 3. I mean, my sons are killing the game, you know?
They are. They are. What are some of the things that you wish people would have told you?
Just directions. Just, hey man, maybe you should do this and not do that. It was just exposure to things, you know. And because I think what happens in life, we fall in line, you know, because you know, instead of what do you want to be when you grow up? Alive, you know. Let's start there, you know. A more realistic picture of what could happen instead of, us growing up, man, we're going to work for the bus company. We're going to be a mailman. We're going to get this job that you worked for 30 years and then they give you a ink pen, not telling you that. But then the whole thing, you can be the president. Oh, no, you don't want to be no goddamn president. It was just a lot, man. I studied tailoring when I was 15 years old. I wanted to be a master tailor. I wanted to be able to throw a jacket in the air and it would levitate because it was so tailor-made. So that literally was my goal at 15. And nobody took this kid, serious like that. My parents didn't basically, stop me from doing what, okay, you thought about that, let's see.
You spoke, is it like 10 years ago at MAD?
Has it been? Has it been that long?
Yeah, it's a decade.
Damn.
It's already a decade. Since you sat at the restaurant and you came to speak. And what's happened? What's happened in the last decade for you? What have you learned since in the last 10 years? If you look back.
Man, René, I've learned a lot, René. I've learned, it's like that I have tenacity and I'm not even supposed, with some of the shit that's happened to me in this business or whatever this is, I shouldn't be here. From having, your fiscal sponsor as a nonprofit, take your money, so basically try to steal your money, to embezzlement, to, not being, basically getting damn near no assistance. None of, when people mention my names about getting a grant, they start doing this, René. Oh, yeah. Oh, that guy. Yeah, what's next on the agenda? So it's like.
Why?
So I don't, because I basically, I'm going to tell you how I feel and I'm going to tell you the real and I'm going to tell you that your bullshit, they call you on bullshit. I was in Unilever at their headquarters and, they got a bunch of nonprofits there and they're basically not telling us why we're there. And so, in their test kitchen and, they have their vegan mayonnaise and all this bullshit. And so they asked me at one point, they're like, we want to know what you guys think about us. And we're at this long table and a bunch of, nonprofits that they invited, to their luncheon that they didn't pay nobody to be there. They didn't fly them in. They didn't take care of nothing. You're Unilever. And so I'm like, you want me to come? I need a check and I need Porto to Porto. So they're like, oh, Ron, they really want you. I'm like, good, do what you got to do. And so I'm there and they said this and I said, they're like, well, we want to know what you think about us. And I said, I think you motherfuckers are the devil. And I paused and I said, but I'll spoon the devil. I said, I'm not having full on sex with you, but I'll take my socks off. And I said, okay. I'm pausing and I said, okay, I'll take my t-shirt off. I'm like, damn, fuck it. I'll take my pants off, but that's it. And you only get a 1/4 inch tongue. So they think, I know they think, what the fuck, what the? And you got people shocked and you got people laughing. But what I do have is your motherfucking attention. And I told them, I'm here because you're one of the biggest multinational worldwide corporations in the world that you can change the food system. I know it can't be done overnight, but I know it can be done. And I know because the gears are too big, you just can't stop it, but it can be done. And I said, so when that declaration is written, I want my name on it, that I helped change the food system. So that's why I'm here. So yeah, so that, and this is in their corporate offices.
Amazing.
So, and I know, so yeah. And this kind of shit has, spreads, René, throughout, all these companies talk to this. So when my name's mentioned, they go, oh, I don't know about that guy.
Hey, if you could...
It is what it is. Still I rise to claim the prize.
Yeah. If you talk about the food system, what are some of the things that you would like to change? If you could we know there are no magic spells that overnight
Yeah.
changes things. But if you could implement something today that by 2070 was in full effect, what was some of the things that you'd change?
The value of self, and then the value of food, that you have a value. You should pledge your allegiance to yourself first. You should pledge your allegiance to the soil, to this air that you're breathing, that has no religion, don't care what your pronoun is, don't care who your mama. Air don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? We should be more like air. And the air you're breathing right now, and there's the same air I'm breathing. We don't think about that. I mean, I want kids to know their true value and how magical they are.
How do we do that so that by 2070 that's done?
Instead of indoctrination, we educate them and show them, to show the magic of one seed, putting that shit in the soil. You can't call it nothing else, René. I put this little tiny ass seed in the ground and I have a damn oak tree, or I have a persimmon tree. That shit's magic. We're spinning around on a ball in outer space. People seem to forget. Yeah, but we're looking for aliens. We're in outer space right now. Stop. So I want kids to, and it's possible for every child to eat a healthy meal in school. We have enough. Why do you have money for tanks that quick? $900 trillion. We've sent tanks. So why aren't you helping these kids? Why aren't you helping everybody in this country to be healthy? Because it's possible. We have places that still look like 1852 or some shit in parts of the United States. I want to see the real though. I think one of the easiest thing to do is healthy food for all these kids, for everybody, man. We should be one of the healthiest places on earth.
Next MAD is about the long game. We're calling it Built to Last because we'd like to inspire people to think in the long term. And if you look in 50, 60 years from now and you try to envision a school meal, how does that look to you? What's a healthy meal?
Something that was raised in healthy soil, something that wasn't sprayed with poison, something that was just was cared for. And it's easy to do. And it wasn't local. That shit was hyper local. It was like, I just reached behind my back. And so that's what we should have food. We could have food everywhere.
Every household have a garden, you think?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I think if we show people that beauty of the garden and that connection that we all have to the soil, we would value it. We don't value food. We don't. We have it because it's there. We don't value. We don't see what farm workers go through to produce and to harvest our food. We don't know. We don't even, they talk about Morgan farm workers, this and that. You don't even see how these people are living. Even in the field, where are they going to the bathroom? I saw some contraption, René, where these people are laying on their bellies on a sled that's being pulled by a tractor, and they're harvesting food, laying on their belly. I'm like, are you fucking,
That's how I'm trying to envision that. That sounds pretty wild.
My thing is, this whole future thing, to me, fuck the future. If we don't fix this shit right now, ain't no future. You see where it's going. It's not getting better, René. It's getting more. So no, right the fuck now is what we need to be dealing with. And that's how we need to be thinking, and then the future. Because you talking about 50 years from now, I don't know if I'm going to be here. But
you will.
I want to be, if I bake a cake, if I change some shit, I want to be a part of it. I want to eat some of that cake I baked. So I want to be there to see the change that I had a hand in. So let's fix this shit today. Let's get on it today and not have let's have a 2-year plan, and we'll increase that shit, but thinking, that's how I am, man. I know I want to be a part of what I want to be a part. I want to see the shit that I changed,
do you ever feel like giving up?
No, because I know I can't. I mean, because I see the traction, Renee. I mean, I met this young woman, and she said, I know, I know who you are. And I'm like, how do you know who I am? And she said, because we studied you at the University of Jordan.
Wow.
And I'm like, Jordan and Watts, Jordan Downs and Watts. She says, no. And I knew what she was talking about. So that lets me know that, wow, that what I have done, even though to me it's that small compared to what I want to do, that it is changing people's lives. And it's I didn't know that this would happen, Renee. This was not, no way in the hell would I think I'd be speaking at, in Sussex, UK, and at university. Get the fuck out of here. You know what? This guy barely can talk, let alone read. and it's like, because to me, this is a life skill. This is not a hobby. You knowing how to cook, you knowing how to harvest, you knowing how to plant. It's a life skill, and it's powerful. And the thing about it, all these powerful things are being stripped from us because we think that's for lowly people. That's from, the downtrodden, It's like, I'm not a slave. I'm not planting food. I'm like, well, you are a slave if you don't. You don't know. It's a life skill. And that's how we should be teaching it. Every school from kindergarten on up, they should be, like you said, plant that tree, and you should be involved in a food system. But yeah, is it I don't know. I see so much positivity, and I see so much change that no, I can't stop. I mean, I don't. I mean, this is who I am. People are like, oh, you're gonna be doing this for the rest of your life. I'm like, I hope not. The only thing I want to be doing for the rest of my life is breathing. I hope somebody takes this and you started a movement. I'm like, I ain't started shit. I ain't started no movement. I ain't started no revolution. Like, how can you say you haven't? I said, because you're the leader. I'm like, don't call me a leader. It's like, why do you say that? Because I'm not a leader. I said, and they said, you remember that guy?
I think you're a leader.
I have a pow. Oh shit! I have a head one.
I think you're a leader, Ron.
They said no. They shoot leaders in the head, Renee. They don't shoot them in the arm. They shoot leaders in the motherfucking head. So no, don't call me. And when it goes down, Renee, you know what's gonna happen. Who started this? What are they gonna do? He did. So no.
Okay, we won't call you the leader, even though that you, right. We know who the leader is.
That part.
Yeah.
It's a 7-headed dragon. There is no leader. Everybody that's involved is a leader. I'll have people call me, man, from from New Jersey to Africa. And, oh my God, Ron Finley, we need you. I'm like, why do you need some clown from South Central in Africa? You're the mother. Well, I said, you have everything there. You're the original soil. I mean, you have everything that you already need. What am I going to do for you? It's like, well, I said, you can do the same thing. I anoint you here. I knight you. Go do it, Yeah,
but the thing is, Ron, you have that thing that few people have, which is, you said it yourself a few times. You just keep going, and you have a mission. You don't let setbacks drive you, or you don't let setbacks, you don't sit in a corner crying. Or maybe you do, but maybe it's just for half an hour, and then you stand up and do it again.
Renee, I'm black. Okay, that's what it is. I'm black. Okay, period.
Wow.
And that's where I start from.
Yeah.
And then ignorance is bliss. Oh, I wasn't supposed to do this? Oh shit. It's done now.
But that's why people call you, because you have that.
Right.
They know that if you're around, things will keep moving. And not a lot of people
but they don't call me.
Yeah?
They don't call me with the big checks, Renee. They call they don't call me with those big ass checks that they're giving these other people.
No, I think the big checks, you probably entered the wrong industry there.
Right.
Guerrilla gardening.
I've seen some people get some big checks.
Yeah. Because we're thinking about the future. And of course, thinking about the future, you're thinking about what you change today so that the future is better.
Right.
If I could have you finish with a few messages, would that be okay?
Sure.
Yeah. So if you were to tell the food corporations of the world what they need to do, could you give them a message? And then afterwards, I'd like you to give a message to all the people that are in food today. What do we need to do now so that the future is better?
So that the now is better for the future.
Yes.
For the few corporations, I mean, it's, to me, the bottom line is to give a fuck, period, about something other than your profits. It's to me, I don't know why they're so short-sighted, because if you have a product and it's not killing people, these people will last longer. Their lives will be long, and so they'll be buying your product more. So you're getting more profit instead of having the short sighting of let's just do it and we don't care how many people it kills. Your food shouldn't kill you. Your food should heal you, and everything that you put in our food should amplify our bodies, amplify our spirit, amplify our souls. It's not doing that. And you can do that. A lot of the stuff that's in the food, it's not necessary to be in there. I want to see that change. What we can do as people in this industry, I think, keep doing what we're doing. I mean, because there definitely is traction. People are definitely waking up. Yeah, it's taking a minute, but you got to realize how long they've been programmed with the bullshit. Oh, you don't need to grow your own food. We got this for you. I'm not telling people to grow their own food, all that, but you should know what's in your food. You should know how your food has been grown. You should know where it came from, and most people don't. And I think if we keep pushing this message that about the bottom line, the word that just popped up is humanity. Period. All this shit is. Be humane. It's that simple. Give a fuck about something other than yourself and money. Because what can you really do with money? But the shit ain't even real. To me, it's people over profits.
Yeah.
You can still do good if you do good. You're actually gonna do better. Be transparent. Be real. If you're gonna be healthy and you want to see lasting change, and you want to see people live longer without these chronic diseases that all of a sudden are taking over the world. It's like, that's what we need to do. It's like I do a question, and I don't know why I do this shit, because every time I do it, it makes, even thinking about it makes you wonder. I ask people, how many people here know somebody that has cancer, that passed away from cancer? If you have cancer, raise your hand. And I get this, René, but now I get this. I get people raising 2 fucking hands, and it's just like instant tears, and it's like, and I'm talking damn near the whole audience. And why is that? Oh, and it's a rare form. And it's a rare form. I thought rare meant 1 or 2, but now rare, it's like, oh, it's a rare. So yeah.
Yeah, there's more and more.
To me, yeah. So how do we change that? How do we change that? And
food I think is a good place to start. What we eat.
No, food is,
what we eat.
What you're putting in your body.
Yeah, what we eat and how we produce it is more or less the key to all the problems. More or less the key.
Yeah, and that's what I want people to realize, man. The power, if we empower children early on with this thought, with these kind of lessons, I mean, that, because we got to change the way they think rather than thinking that this other shit is normal, and it's not.
Ron, you are an incredibly inspiring person, and you are also a person that is completely unafraid, which to me is probably the most inspiring bit about you. To be unafraid and to keep going, to always speak your mind and always be real, as you say. It is simply a joy to speak to you and a joy to have you as a friend and to know there are people like you out there being an uncle for gardens all around the world. It's just, thank you. Thank you so much for this conversation,
man. René, I mean, I so appreciate you, man, and the, you know, the respect and the love that and what you've done. And I've known you've taken some swords with, you know, some of the shit you've done, but you're like, fuck y'all, I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and that's you're inspiring so many people, man, around the world. And I to be in, you know, cohort, to be in company with is I mean, come on, man. I can't even say enough. I mean, thank you thank you for being
hopefully
René.
We can see you soon in Copenhagen.
You will. We'll be there.
Let a spade be your weapon of choice. Wise words for all of us. Thanks for listening to Mad Talks. And please come back next week for a new episode with another fascinating speaker from MAD Symposium. This podcast was produced by Cecil Coe-Norgel and made by MAD. To learn more about us and our work within hospitality, make sure to follow us on socials at the Mad Feed, sign up for our newsletter, or check us out at madfeed.co.